going?
Africa.
Are you excited?
Very.
All right, it looks like it. I can see how excited you are. Have you guys ever been to Africa before?
No.
All right.
So I'm going to begin, and I'm going to get to the guys in just a moment, but with Nate and Alinda, and we know that it's very easy. We start thinking about missionaries as coming from somewhere and going to another place, but we're all in mission in some way or another. But this is home for you. You are you are Zambians. I was about to call you Kafakumbians.
Kafakumbans.
That's not a thing.
That's a tough one.
You are Zambians. You are in that way that you've lived there. How many years have y'all lived there now?
We've been there about 12 years now,
Okay.
and actually we're very honored to have two of our kids out there with us with their spouses, and so we got grandkids too, and granddogs, right? These guys know all about our granddogs, and so we're excited just to have that kind of continuity in ministry.
And you two met in boarding school, but that was where?
That was in Kenya. I was a missionary kid in Kenya. She was in Congo. And yeah, we met when, we started dating when I was a senior and she was a junior. So.
And then you were part of the Florida Conference, and you were here for a little while? And then
Yes, I pastored in the Florida Conference for 20 years. My first year and a half actually down in Kendall in Miami, and then 5 years down in the Keys, the Middle Keys, and then 13 years up at St. Mark's in Melbourne area, Indialantic.
And what was the seed planted that said, yeah, I think God's calling us to Zambia?
Well, it was, we were together with one of the pastors who's our director out there in Zambia, and it was just during a long car ride with him that I think God planted that seed, and then I kind of threw the seed at my wife, and she prayed with me through it, and that was the nudge that it took to get us over there.
Alinda, what has been something transformative for you of just if you can think of one story that I'm throwing at you just last minute, of just what compelled you to want to go?
I've always had a heart for the African people. And so when Nate brought it up, it had some holes in his idea. But at the same time, it was as if God just opened every single door. And I've always had a passion for healthcare. So for me, it's been having the opportunity to minister through healthcare in Zambia. And that has been something that Anne has certainly partnered with. And God has, I'm a really good employee. I had never really anticipated starting a ministry in healthcare, but God opened every single door despite my clutching at the door frame, and continues to open that door. And so that has been a reaffirmation of that seed on a regular basis.
I think the important thing to notice about the ministries, when I've worked with other groups, I enjoy working with people who are part of the community, that they're not going there to go, let us do you a favor, but they're working in partnership with Zambians, and that you talked about the many people that the ministry employs, that those are Zambian employees. Did you say that the average income was about $80 a month?
That's a starting income, and if you have a job,
Yeah.
that's about the average income, but unemployment's very high.
And so when he was talking about the medical care, we hear $130 and thinking, oh, that's a significant chunk. And so what they're doing is working alongside the community, making sure people can have the resources they need as best they can. And that's where the partnership we come into play. So for you guys, you go in and you know some of this, depending on how much you were paying attention to before. And I get that. I completely get that. What would you say is one of the most, what your expectation was, and then what you actually saw?
We'll let the junior start.
So going into it, I didn't really I had like a little bit of expectation of what it was going to be like, but everyone has like a stereotype of what it's going to be like there, whether they think it or not. But going in there, I just saw how happy and grateful they were for everything. The first day we got there, we went to 2 churches, and one of them was basically just like a metal shed, and they were just having so much fun. They were so joyful. They were so happy. They were happy that we were there. They greeted us. They treated us like we were family. And the second church, or it was the first church we went to, they were all singing, dancing, having fun. Once again, they introduced us, and we got to see how much of a family they were like. And after that, we got to talk to the kids. We got to meet them. We got to go to youth group. And they were just so happy. They were so grateful that we were there. And that's just something that I don't see a lot here. But I saw it so much there, how happy, how grateful they were. And they really just treated us like we were a family.
I would say going into it, we definitely had expectations, even if we didn't fully think about it. You definitely have kind of a preconceived idea of what it would be like. And while it was kind of similar in some ways with how the villages looked and all that, I would have never expected how the people were. Everyone was super welcoming and kind, and they were all proud of what they had, even if it wasn't as much as what we had. And I found it to be very interesting how even if they didn't have as much as we had, they still were so welcoming to us, and especially because they didn't know us, they were just accepting us and showing us into their life and spreading their joy to us. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so when we went over there, I'm going to change it a little bit, but we kind of went over there with the idea that we're just running VBS. We're running VBS for the kids and stuff like that. But as we went through the trip, we realized it's more than just running VBS, but it's building relationships with the kids. And we ended up playing games with the kids like soccer and stuff, and we actually ended up playing soccer with them and with the local soccer group, and they absolutely showed everyone up, but they're extremely good at soccer. But we built relationships with people, and that's what we went over there to do, and that's what I think God sent us over there to do, is build the relationships with people, not just on top of teaching them the Vacation Bible School material, but I feel like the relationships are the important part of what God sent us there to do, and get to know the kids. And we loved the kids there, and the kids loved us there, and they were sad when we left, but I think that's all part of it, that we were able to build that relationship with the kids and make that impact on the kids.
They loved them so much that they sent 100 I love you letters for them to read. Their heads got this big.
So what would you say is one thing you learned there, either about yourself or that you wanted to implement in your life when you got back?
Yeah, after being there, you realize that people here take a lot of things for granted. And a lot of people here, we take our house for granted, we take our electricity for granted, we take our clean running water for granted. We take the fact that we can get fuel for a decent price on any corner, or we take the fact that we have a car for transport, or just public transportation in general for granted. But the people over there, from the village to the school, they walk 45 minutes each day one way to get to that school. And they don't have any cars there. Their houses are sometimes, they're 1 bedroom, a kitchen, and a living room, and a bathroom. And that's all their house is. Tin roofs, concrete block walls. The stuff that they have over there compared to what we expect over here, they are much happier with what they have there, and they're much more appreciative over little things over there than what we are here. So just for a meal here, we take so much more for granted, and we're so less appreciative here than they are over there. They are so grateful just to have, the kids there are grateful to have that one meal that they get at the school provided to them, compared to what, or 2 meals that they get provided to them, compared to what we get when we go to our school. We're critical of our food, and we're not appreciative of it, and we say, oh, this food's terrible, blah, blah. But over there, they eat pretty much the same things every day, and they are so appreciative over it. So it really teaches us that we need to be more appreciative over what we have.
I definitely agree with Zach about learning that we need to be more appreciative and grateful for what we have, because it's exactly what he said. They have, compared to us, they don't have nearly as much, but all the people through that, they're still finding so much joy, and they're all kind, and they all stay positive. And I feel like some people here, if you don't have exactly what you want, not everyone's like that. And I think it's definitely something that people can learn to still find joy and stay happy throughout all that. But then also, I would say being welcoming like they were would definitely be something that I picked up from the trip, because no matter where we went, everyone was welcoming us. Everyone wanted to show off what they had. Everyone wanted to bring us into their lives. And I feel like not everyone in the U.S. is like that. Like not everyone here is like that. People are more closed off, and not everyone is as open to sharing themselves like they were. And I feel like it kind of showed me that we all have a connection through God, especially through the church services. No matter where we went, everyone was participating in the services. Everyone kept talking. Everyone would introduce themselves. We were all greeting each other and laughing like we had known each other before. And I feel like it was definitely a much more positive environment, and everyone was just so welcoming to anyone.
A couple things that I took in was that we need to we just have more happiness and be more grateful for everything, because out there they would be so happy to play a 15-minute game of soccer. They'd be happy to sing church songs for 20 minutes. And out here we have so much, but most of the time we're not grateful for everything we have. So when we were over there, I could just see all the happiness they had. They were all smiling. I never saw one sad kid. Every single time we saw them, their faces were lit up. We went to some villages. We saw some of the stuff that was going on there. They had just small houses, and it just made me think that I need to be more grateful for everything we have here. And we may have more things, but they have more heart. So that's something that we need to all just take in, and that's something I personally took in. And another thing is faith. Going to the churches, you could just see how devoted they were to their faith. They were always conversating with the pastor. They were always singing. Everyone was just so they were just so into it, and it really moved me. I just wow. It was mainly the second one. It was more like they were just having a conversation with the pastor. They were always answering questions. They were always just so into it. And the thing is, the whole entire crowd was getting up. They were singing. They were doing dances all along the thing, or all along the church. And it just made me want to grow more in my faith, and made me want to go to church a lot more.
One thing I noticed when we were at the school with the children, they really had dreams and aspirations for their futures. Dealing with the youth here, not these youth, but we really don't know what we want to do when we grow up. But talking to the children over there, they wanted to be doctors. They wanted to be airline pilots. They wanted to be engineers. They wanted to be teachers. Unfortunately, I don't think they're ever going to get that opportunity, but that was their dream. That was their desire. That's what they wanted to do. And again, they were so appreciative of everything that was done for them. Everything ended with a thank you, appreciate it, this and that. Here, in our country, sometimes we do things for people and we don't get that acknowledgement that we help them. So we kind of get a little bit upset that you didn't thank me for what I did. Over there, it was not an issue. They were extremely thankful for everything, which probably changed me a little bit now to where I really shouldn't expect that thank you. I should do what I should do, what God instructs me to do, and not desire that kickback from the person that I'm helping. So that was a real change for me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I just,
Dylan,
Yeah, I wanted to speak to something Brian mentioned, and that is when we first started the school, those kids had no dreams at all. They knew that their life was one of agriculture. They were going to be working in their farm just like their parents did, and these children are all high risk. They are the ones that really wouldn't normally go to school, except that my mother had a passion for children and kind of boosted all of us to start this school because it was necessary, but it was definitely through her love of children. And our children have done academically fantastic. They we're actually really, really proud of them. They all passed their 7th grade exams this year. All of the children in 7th grade passed, which is like the old FCAT. If you didn't pass, you had to either repeat. But what they do in Zambia is if you don't repeat, you go back to the village and work the farm if you didn't pass. Obviously, that's not our goal for this school for these children. But we've also just started scholarship funds because for a student to go to college, it's $1,000 a year. And so it's $4,000 to put one of our children through college. So we've started the fund because they are currently now in 8th grade, that one day those ones who want to be teachers, want to be airline pilots, if they have the aptitude, we would love to see them succeed. So forgive me for hogging the time, but we're really excited about the opportunity to help them find that dream. So, sorry.
I'm so glad you said that because I was going to say the same thing. Because I am so proud of everything that you all have done for those students. And to hear them, even just from being there the year before to this year, unbelievable. And their confidence level has soared since they passed those exams. It's been great. It was like crazy to see the change. I do just want to mention that, when I was a parent of kids this age, I didn't let my kids go out of the country because I was scared. And I thought, you know what, we need all the help we can get right here. But there's something I've learned. There's a difference between serving in your own community and places and than being removed from an environment that's comfortable. Because all of a sudden, there's a clarity that you don't have when you're right in your own backyard. The clarity comes from not having distractions from internet and cell phones and people right? And from being in a completely different place. So you're already feeling a little bit less than you would normally feel in another place. And so it opens up your mind and your heart to new experiences. These kids were amazing. They're kids, right? And we know how kids are. So they do come in with different expectations, and maybe they might make some missteps, but only because of the culture that they've come from. They have hearts that are so pure, truly. You might not see it on an everyday basis, but they do. And when I watched them in the village where we had gone into and we saw such poverty that they probably had never experienced before, and we spoke with people and it felt uncomfortable because we felt like we were being voyeuristic, right, when we were going into this community. And we went in for a purpose. We were invited to go see Brenda's home, but they could feel it. They were standing on the side of the road, and they were all just standing there kind of gripping their stomachs. And they didn't mention we went to a place that was kind of like KFC called the Hungry Lion, and they didn't feel so good after when they ate that fried chicken. But in particular, Ryan. But they were all standing there, and they're like, Miss Shelley, my stomach hurts. And I was like, oh no, maybe you have a virus. Maybe it wasn't the food. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, well, is it really your stomachs that hurt? And they were like, I don't think so. And so I said, could it be your hearts? And with tears in their eyes, like the three of them, I'm sorry if I embarrass you, said, yeah, It's our hearts. So they felt it, right? And you're not really sure when you bring someone into a different environment if they're going to really feel it. And these kids, they felt it. I know I felt it. I know you felt it. And so the conversations we had on a daily basis about what they experienced, the fun stuff, the good things that we did on the trip, and then the sad things we saw, were like heartfelt, real conversations. And how can we make a difference? The conversations they had about the experiences they had in worship. How can we bring that back to St. Peter's? Because I want to feel like that all the time, and I want all of them to feel like that too. We're real, true conversations. And so I encourage you, if you know of teenagers or kids or you yourselves would like to have a different kind of experience, this is a great way to do it in a safe and loving environment. The people that we met had such joy in their hearts, the joy that Pastor Jacob has been speaking about when he's preached, right? The joy that comes from God. And that's what we felt, and it was incredibly moving. And that comes from these two people right here. Because the leadership that they have at Kafakumba is truly been life-changing for the people who live there and for the people who come and visit and get to experience what they have created, which is truly profound, what they have done. So I just want to thank you all for allowing us the opportunity. I know it might have been a little dicey for a few minutes, but the impact that you're making, obviously is life-changing for the people you're serving, but for the people who get to come and serve with you too. So thank you.
Is there anything you guys want to share that maybe I didn't ask you, or something about how God has impacted you?
Yeah, so over here in the States, we treat like religion as church, and we go to church on Sundays, and then that's our kind of weekly routine, weekly religion. That's kind of our weekly devotion to God. But over there, it's more than church for religion. Religion's not going to church, or not just going to church. It's not just worshiping, but it's a lifestyle for them. They center their lives around God, and over here, we don't center our lives, I don't think, enough around God as they do over there, because over there it's you can see it over there, and the way that they treat people, the way that they treat you, they welcome you with open arms to whatever you do. Like, we visited their youth group, they welcomed us with open arms. They invited us into conversation, and in their churches as well. It's not like Ryan said, it's not like an audience. It's you are a part of a church over there. The pastor's asking questions, the audience is responding to the questions, and then the pastor, he asked the questions, you guys got to answer them. So, and then the pastor will bounce back off of that, and it will be a bounce back between, like a call and response between the audience and the pastor. And then the audience, they'll get up, and they'll sing, and they'll dance. They'll come up to the front and start dancing. And they practice these routines week after week, and it's something that they center their lives around, the way, just general overall, their happiness, you could tell, and the way that they treat people. And it's much more profound, their religion, than it is here in the States. And I think if we bring that kind of aspect into the States, I think it can improve not just your life, but the people around yours.
So I want to give them just one more hand. I'm so proud of you guys, and for it, and look forward to seeing. I've noticed a difference in y'all, and look forward to seeing and hearing even how it impacts you at school and in the youth group. And we thank you so much for opening your home to them. And I don't know how many teams that y'all have come a year, or 3 or 4. So, all right, and you got these guys. All right. So thank you so much for doing that, because I know it can it can be disruptive, but they, from everything I heard Ann was sharing, they're just open. You've been so hospitable to everyone, and we're glad that we'll be a part of that, and then to be able to bring that back here and see how you're going to live that out and share that with us. So let's give them a hand.